got the UVHM 38. I already have some weapons here. I'm going to do this Lord of Rage thing, see what it looks like. Let's see what it looks like here. Lord of Rage. I like this. I like the ice work here too, but man, this looks cool. The head helmet.
It all looks so tempting.
For kill ammo, increase fire rate. I'm gonna look up something real quick. I don't really know what to do. If you want to know what my I have a reactive interfacer, a scalable interfacer, two purging interfacers, which you see all our stats are the exact same, except what? The electrocution and corrosion. Okay, assault rifle. I'll be using. Okay, there we go. Are active. Of course, I do have. I need a skill. I need some regen too, so what I'll probably do, I'll go through all this right here. Gun damage, put into this. Mainly just healing stuff into this. Damage reduction would be nice too. So I'll be able to maybe get down and out. But I'm gonna go. Well, I'll be like. That's basically just my regen stuff. Increase max health. That's why it's super good. So while I'll regen, I do regen pretty quick. I'm gonna go look up how to do that. Okay, I'll be right back. I'm listening to this guy.
Now I have 15 minutes to do so because of PlayStation 4 share limitations.
Oh really?
So let's dive right in.
Why is
now,
it?
as you can see, I've reset all of my abilities. I'm going to start from scratch and basically talk through the pros and cons of all these skills and what you should be going for.
What do
The
I
right-hand
want?
skill tree
What
is fairly
do
useful in
I
the very
want?
early stages of the game when you're low level, but as you start getting up around sort of level 20 or so, you can pretty much take all your skills out of that tree and start working on the middle tree and the left-hand tree. Now these are Gunlust and Rampage, and basically Rampage is all about allowing you to gunzerk as much as possible and as often as possible. And if you can gunzerk all the time, then you've got the health regeneration and you've got the massive amount of extra damage, and you're going to be pretty much overpowered. I think the Gunzerker is one of the most powerful classes in the game. I've unequipped my class mod, I believe. In fact, no, I need to do that, but I will drop that down. So I've not got a class mod equipped, and that won't be interfering with the values, the points that I put in, just so that you can see what the default values of each of these skills will be when you put 5 points into them. Now, out of these first two, because of course I will be concentrating on the Rampage tree to begin with, this skill here, Inconceivable, is actually a glitch. Now, the idea is it sometimes means that you don't use put the skill on and you're gunzerking, then sometimes it can stop your gun from reloading because it stops the last bullet in the magazine from being used, and then this glitch kind of messes with your auto reload. So you'll be holding both triggers down, but one of your guns just won't reload, and sometimes So when you do notice, you then have to reload yourself, which means your other gun will reload also, and it just causes a big problem. It's basically not worth having any points in this skill whatsoever, because it just really messes with your gunzerking ability. So ignore that because of the glitch. So I put 5 into the fill to the brim skill there for the extra ammo capacity and magazine size. Now the next 3 skills are going to be all about increasing your gunzerking duration and cooldown. So we're going to put 5 into the duration there, and then 5 into the cooldown rate. Then we're going to put 5 points into Yippee-Ki-Yay. Now this means that every time you get a kill, it adds 3 seconds onto your gunzerking ability. So if you've got a lot of enemies around, you can just keep gunzerking almost endlessly. Now this next skill is absolutely excellent, and it's a little bit tricky to understand quite what it means. But basically, with the full 5 points, every time you damage an enemy, if I come out of here just quickly, in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, you'll see the icon that represents my gunzerking ability. Now, when you've just finished using Gunzerker, it will be empty and it will start filling up, and that's your cooldown. But every time you damage someone with this particular skill, it takes off 3 seconds from your next cooldown. Now, the great thing about this is that this can be activated while you're gunzerking.
What
so
do
when
I want?
when you're already
What
gunzerking
do
and you're
I
shooting
want?
enemies, every enemy you shoot, and of course this can only trigger every 3 seconds, but every time you shoot an enemy, it takes 3 seconds off your next cooldown. And because you've got this Yippee-Ki-Yay skill, every time you kill an enemy, you're extending the time that you're currently gunzerking. So with those two coupled together, most of the time, if there's enough enemies around and you're damaging people often enough, you'll run out of your current gunzerker ability, but as soon as you do, your next one will already be recharged and ready to go. It's absolutely brilliant, and quite often you can pretty much go through an entire area and just keep gunzerker on pretty much infinitely. And then of course we've opened up this final skill, which involves holding both triggers down while you're gunzerking and being able to increase your fire rate and reload speed while the triggers are held down. Now that's obviously very useful, especially against bosses. Now we're going to move on to the left-hand tree. And in this tree, we are going to concentrate first of all on the reloading increases your fire rate bonus on the left-hand side, locked and loaded. 5 points into there. Now that actually works well in conjunction with some other skills, which we'll talk about in a moment. Now out of these two, you've got one here that gives you extra damage when you swap weapons. The first bullet you fire gives you extra damage, but it's 40%, which is quite high, but that's only on the first round. But if you're using pistols, like you probably will be because of the excellent unkempt Harold guns, having 15% on every single shot fired, 15% extra damage for pistol shots across your whole magazine far outweighs 40% on one single bullet. So we're going to go with that. Now we're going to come down here and we're going to choose this skill here. Now this is very useful, and it can actually lead to a new strategy, a new sort of technique of playing. What this does is every time you get a kill, all your unequipped guns, so in other words the guns that are in your equipped slots but aren't currently in your hands, they will be fully reloaded. So this means that you can basically be gunzerking. You can have 2 guns out, get a kill with those 2 guns, then swap to your other 2, get a kill with them, and when you get a kill with them, it will reload the ones that you were using before because they're not in your hands anymore. So you don't actually have to manually reload your guns. You can just kill, swap, and you pretty much keep firing without having to reload at all. Now, of course, this does interrupt things like holding down your triggers, getting the faster fire rate and reload, but to be honest, if you're fighting against lots of smaller enemies, you're probably not going to be holding the trigger down like you would against someone like Terramorphous. But the great thing is as well, when you do swap weapons, because your unequipped weapons have just reloaded, as soon as you swap to those weapons, you will trigger this locked and loaded skill. Because you've just reloaded, it will increase your fire rate by 25%. So that's excellent. Now, the next skill is also a brilliant one. This money shot. Now, if you compare this to the 40% extra damage on the first bullet fired in a new gun when you swap to it, compare that to this, which is 400% damage, and that's in the final bullet in your magazine. Now, of course, if you are getting kills and then swapping, this won't be triggering as often, but this is great against bosses, and if you're against a lot of triggers held down, then obviously you don't want to be swapping guns in that kind of situation. The whole swapping guns technique is good against sort of single enemies or like a couple of enemies here and there. When you've got a big group, you just hold both rate, 25% extra reload speed, and because you're reloading constantly, you'll also get another 25% fire rate increase, and you will also